Let's let the sound of this next bell take us to the deepest place within us. All right, let's stand for our first couple of songs.
The choir sends their thoughts and prayers. One, two, three, four. Thoughts and prayers are good indeed, but if you want to grow a garden, gotta plant a lot of seeds. Water them, tend them patiently, living in spirit. Peace, love, happiness. Peace, love, happiness. Thoughts and prayers are tools of man, but if you want to grow a future, you still gotta make a plan. Work on it, stick to it earnestly, living in spirit. Peace, love, happiness. Peace, love, happiness. Thoughts and prayers are what they say will help us to understand all that's happening today. Good will triumph, guaranteed, living in spirit. Peace, love, happiness. Peace, love, happiness. Peace, love, happiness. Peace, love, living in spirit. This will be a new song for you guys, but we did sing it last week. I cultivate the seed within with thoughts of love where life begins. Oh, Holy Spirit, clear and bright, bathe my good and sacred life. I cultivate your love. I celebrate my true
Okay, friends, while you're on your feet, please turn to one another and offer the Namaste greeting. Namaste, namaste, musicians, blessings, namaste to our tech team, Brian and Jesus, namaste, namaste to our love streamers. Namaste, BJ, I see you back there, blessings. I'm so grateful for all of you. If this is your first time here, you may not know that we have Jimmy and the What Else Is Possible choir. Woo! This is our house band in the house. Let's give them some love. Yeah. They're awesome. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Namaste, beloveds. I'm Reverend Elizabeth Raleigh Hogan. I am the spiritual leader here, and I use she, her gender pronouns, and the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Chumash and Salinan people. Welcome to the Awakening Ways Center for Spiritual Living, where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. This service has been designed especially for you. Welcome home. We have been waiting for you. All right. Woo-hoo. And friends, we have an affirmation for today, and I invite you to please repeat after me. I am so blessed. I love my life. Spirit loves me. All is well. And so it is. All right, yeah. And now we have Delon Richenberg, who is our practitioner for the day. But before he begins, he's going to offer us a spiritual mind treatment and a reading. And before he does so, I want to call your attention to a couple of things. First of all, in your program, you have a salmon-colored sheet like this one, and it's a prayer request sheet. And we are a community that loves to pray. And so we have a soul support team of 10 individuals who are dedicated to your highest and best evolution. And so they are on the ready to pray for you for the week. And they do this every week with new prayers. And so we invite you to fill out this form, whether there's something heavy on your heart for which you would like prayer for, or maybe you're just looking to manifest something in your life like a new car or, a better relationship or deepening your relationship with God, whatever it is. You can fill out this form and you can place it in the offering basket when it comes around at the end of the service, or you can fold it up and place it in our prayer box over on the side here. And also, Delon is going to be available after the service for 1-minute miracles in the foyer, and it works, so thank you, Delon, for that service. And then if you come up with a prayer that you would like during the week, you can send us an email at info@awakeningways.org. And then we have Susan Jones here in the front who is holding the high watch for us, and she's in a meditative state, keeping us grounded and anchored, and knowing that the words that come out are right and perfect, and that everyone is feeling that love, and she's just holding space for us. So she's going to be in that state. I think I got everything, right? I think so. All right. If not, I'll let you know later. Here's Delon. Thank you, Delon.
Good morning. It's good to be here with you. Our book of the year is 365 Science of Mind, and so we're reading that every day. And this morning's reading is an excerpt from this morning's page in that book. So why don't we close our eyes and just kind of open to the message of these words. Just let them sink in. You don't have to do anything except receive them. I am only of God, and so nothing can stand in the way of my liberty. I now realize that I am spiritually entitled to success, affluence, and a happy disposition. I am free in my life, my work, my world, and my body. I am free to experience God's love for me and to grow in God's consciousness. God within me, as me, is all powerful, all good, and all there is. And it's in that freedom this morning that we come together for this service. And I just know that something this morning is going to touch each and every one of us. Something is going to set us free, knowing that God is in everything, living itself through everything that happens this morning. And I just rejoice in that. I let that be so, and so it is.
One, two, three, four.
Chop that wood, carry water. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Enlightenment, I want to know what it is. Every second, every minute keeps on changing to something different. Enlightenment, I just want to know what it is. Enlightenment says the world seemed like nothing but a dream. Everything is like an illusion, but it's still very real. I'm in the here and now, and I'm meditating. Good times are coming. I'm tired of waiting. Enlightenment, I want to know what it is. Wake us up, Steve. Enlightenment, I just want to know what it is. Enlightenment says the world seems like nothing but a dream. Everything seems like an illusion, but it's still very real. All around you can see, every day you're making up your own reality, because enlightenment, it doesn't care what it is. So you gotta chop that wood, carry water. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Enlightenment, I want to know what it is. But it's up to you. Enlightenment, don't you want to know what it is? It's up to us. Enlightenment, don't you know what it is? It's always up to us. But we can plant the seed.
All right, thank you. You guys are amazing. Can we give them a little more love? So wonderful. Wow, it's starting to get bright behind me. You guys are lighting up. Oh, it's just you guys. You guys are so bright today. Wow. Hello. It's a great day to be alive, isn't it? Considering the alternative, I mean, I'll take it, right? Yeah, it's pretty good, yes? So, friends, this month, this is the last Sunday in April. Wow, right? She's glad April is complete or completing. And so the topic for today is emergence. And so it's really a day of celebration as we experience the joy of those seeds of our intention that we planted that are now breaking through that soil of consciousness, right? Coming into form. They've either already sprouted up above ground or are just about to. So regardless of where we are in our own individual process with our intention, we continue to care for them as they come forth, right? It's not like they start to sprout up above ground and then you're done. It's not one and done, remember? We continue to provide that care and the nutrients and ensure that the weeds haven't sprouted up somehow, right? And so we'll continue to do that, but it's a celebration. And so this got me really thinking about our first vegetable garden. Do you all remember the first time you grew vegetables? Yeah, wasn't that great? I remember my first vegetable garden as a kid, and my mom was so excited for us to do this, and so we planted tomatoes and zucchini and eggplant and more, but those are the ones I remember. Now, I remember we took some time to find the perfect location, and it was out on the side of our house where it would get plenty of sunlight. And then we prepared the soil. We had like a little, some wood around the area. My dad built that out for us. And then we prepared the soil. And then we planted the seeds, and we watered the garden. And then every day when my mom came home from work, we would go out into the garden and check it out, make sure everything was cool, make sure we watered it. We would pull weeds or remove anything that wasn't supposed to be there. This is when I saw my very first tomato bug or worm or whatever that thing was. I was like, where did that come from? And so it was so cool. I could hardly wait to check this out every day, right? So for a week or maybe two, we would go out and things would be pretty uneventful, It was like, okay, yep, it's a garden and we just got to keep watering. And it was like, okay, is something going to happen? But we just continued to nurture and care for it. And then suddenly one day we went out and there were tomatoes, little tiny tomatoes. And then there was a little zucchini. And then there was a little eggplant. And it was like, wow, that's so cool, because it seemed like out of nothing, something was happening, right? Something was happening, but it was a little tiny seed, But all of a sudden, we were getting these vegetables. And okay, but we would continue, right? Vegetables were born. I was amazed as a kid. I was like, wow, this is amazing. You have nothing, and then you get something. Isn't that the creative process right there, right? And so we continued to care for them, and then, they grew and grew. One day it was really tiny, and then like a few days later, they had tripled in size, and then even tripled again. And I think I know. We were one of those families that had that giant oversized zucchini. Remember your friends come and you're like, what is that? Yeah. This is like a contest or something. And I don't know, my mom may have thrown in some Miracle Grow. She may have done that. But anyway, it was just so cool to see these subtle shifts, right, in the seeds, and to see how over time the seeds that we planted climbed above ground into form as plants, and then vegetables grew on them, like the fruits, right? But they're veggies, the fruits of the harvest. So then we would harvest the vegetables and eat them. And so it's like, wow, this is all, like, earth is part of our bodies, right? We're made of earth stuff. And it was Earth Day this week, so what a great reminder that we are made of the stuff of the earth. We eat stuff of the earth, and we were born here on this planet. We are made of earth stuff and cosmos. Hello. All right, so think about how delightful that is when you were a kid, or even now if that's something that you engage in, growing your own food and then harvesting it and then eating it. It's like this is exactly the same as what we are doing with our thought seeds, right? Now, how many of you have an unruly garden of the mind? You know, like you just don't even check. The weeds are growing like wild mustard plant, right? Have you seen that stuff? Your allergies have felt it, that fluorescent green pollen that comes around this time of year every year, right? Is that how your mind is? Just the weeds, right? And so some of us aren't paying attention, but if we're paying attention, especially this month when we've been talking about it, you know, we prepared the soil and then have gone out and pulled the weeds. We've tended our garden, tended the garden of our mind. And so this is ongoing. Again, it's not one and done, you know, because things crop up. New things, old things. Anybody ever notice something come up and you're like, oh, I worked on that. I'm already done with that. And then it comes up like 100,000 times worse, right? And you're like, what happened? It's like we're peeling away these layers of the onion, you know, and we go deeper and deeper all the time, and more is revealed. And so it's like we're shining the light of consciousness on all the little shadowy areas of ourselves because we have found spirit, because we know there is something greater than we are and we can use it. And so we are not afraid. We become more courageous because we know we are the love of the divine and that we have that love with us always and that nothing can hurt or harm us as we remember this truth. Yes? Yes. All right. So the invitation for us this week is to consider those subtle shifts that we experience that signal our growth and that encourage us to honor these beginnings with gratitude and patience, right? So last week, I know I mentioned change your habits, change your life, and I was really looking at our book of the month, which is Atomic Habits. It's been Atomic Habits. I don't always get to read the entire book of the month each month, but this month I finished it in week 3. It's that good. This book is so good. I mean, I was amazed at a lot of the things that I learned or was reminded of because it's not new material. It's just like, oh, a way to laser focus creating habits for yourself and your life, and it's the move your feet part of treat and move your feet, you know? And so an atomic habit is a little habit, a tiny little habit that's part of a larger system, just like atoms are the building blocks of molecules. And so atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. So I often say if you're not getting results in your life if you're not seeing the results in your life as a result of this teaching and what you're learning here, then we need to have a conversation because things should be transforming, right? And so the atomic habits will help you with that. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We actually fall to the level of our system. So he's reminding us that maybe there's something in your system that isn't working for you. It's not that you're bad, wrong, or anything like that. You're perfect exactly as you are, and maybe you need a different system, you know? And so we definitely rise or we fall to the level of our systems, which is another great reminder that our conscious mind is the goal setter and our unconscious mind is the goal getter. So if you have set a goal with your conscious mind, maybe to release weight, and then you keep finding yourself at the buffet, or you keep finding yourself at Slowdoco, and it's like, what's happening here? You know? So it's more important that you are having this comfort food for some reason, right? It's your unconscious mind that is the goal getter. Are you with me? This is powerful stuff, you guys, because we can, and so in this teaching, we're going from conscious mind to unconscious mind, but if we have unhealed stuff in our unconscious mind, then that stuff is going to continue to drive us and lead our lives. And so we know there's something more, and that's why we're here. We know there's something greater than our minds, thank goodness, right? And it is the universal spirit, the presence of love. And we can continue to expand on that and get more grounded and anchored in that until our unconscious mind is convinced. And then It lets go of any need for anything else, any need to have 100 donuts or any need. I always talk about sweets. Do you think it's a thing for me? It might be. Did you say yeah? No. Yeah. So the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. So atomic habits can come in, and a tiny little change, right? A tiny little change, a marginal gain, a marginal adjustment, right? A 1% improvement. That's all we're talking about. If you want to meditate and you don't meditate, start for 5 minutes. Yeah. He even says the 2-minute rule. He says, do the thing for 2 minutes and then make yourself stop. Right? Which is really hard because 2 minutes is not that long. Unless you're at an Orange Theory workout, then it's an eternity. But 2 minutes, I was just channeling my coach. But 2 minutes is really not that long. So you go into meditation just enough time to like focus on your breath and then you're done. So try it, right? What happens for a lot of us is we go, I'm going to start meditating. 40 minutes in the morning, 40 minutes at night. And then you go and you're like, I don't have time for 40 minutes, so you're just not going to do it, right? You're laughing because it's true, right? And so we can adjust that by starting small, marginal gain, 1%. How many of you had coffee this morning? Oh, how many of you loved your coffee? Remember that little percentage of raising your hand that we talked about earlier in this month or last month or at some point? But it's that little extra bit, right? Just that little something extra that's going to get you into that transformation, that's going to get you into that zone, into your hakalau, where you are in the flow and becoming more of who you came here to be, because that's what we're doing. We're not becoming someone else. We're constantly becoming more of who we came here to be, which is letting go of who we're not. Yes? Thank goodness, right? It's not like we have to be something different than what we are. So speaking of working out, it's a great example, right? So going to my Orange Theory fitness workouts has become a habit. It is literally as if my body gets up and goes, even if my mind wants to stay in bed, or my mind stays in bed, right? Like, oh, you just need to rest today, Elizabeth. Come on, just too much. You're going a little too far. What do you think? You're training for some event or something. Now, it's fascinating for me to observe, but I'm going to share more on that shortly. So I can feel my body getting stronger. I feel muscles. It shows up as the little tiny aches and pains in odd places, like right here on my forearm. I'm like, what did I do? Oh, it was those weird reverse bicep curls. Right? Those little things, right? These are the aches and pains, though, that might make someone go, oh, no, working out hurts. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. But the hurt is actually the growth of your muscles. You with me? Yeah. Okay. So they have this machine. You guys may have heard of it, but it's an in-body scanner. And so you stand on this thing, it's a scale, and then you hold these little, has anybody done this in-body scan? One or two of you, okay. And then you hold them out, and you hold out these little wands, and you're barefoot, and it weighs you, and then it takes a percentage of your a percentage is like, no, thank you. It takes a percentage of your body fat and a percentage of your lean muscle mass. And so you get to find out all those things, plus your water, like how's your water? You know, this is all stuff for our health, right? And it's amazing. So the in-body scan actually shows that my lean muscle mass percentage is climbing higher. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joni. I appreciate you. It's hard to do because you've got to like adjust the foods you're eating and have it be just right. Otherwise, I discovered I'm doing all these workouts and my fat percentage is 44%, and it's not changing because of the food I'm eating, right? So anyway, it's all about the process of learning, but I'm getting too into the weeds here. James Clear says that your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits, And so those scans are showing my lean muscle mass is increasing, maybe by 1 or 2 percentage points, but it's doing something, right? It's that 1% gain, right? 1% gain. Now, back to what I spoke of previously, I have proof that this is working for me, right? So this has happened for me twice this month. I had a workout scheduled in my app. That's how you have to do it these days. I'm awake, feel like, yeah, I could use some more rest. My mind is legitimately saying, no, you don't need to go. You did it 4 times last week. What are you doing? You're going to be tired, blah, blah, blah. But my body is getting up and putting on the clothes. I'm like, no, we're not going. Next thing I know, I'm tying my shoes. I'm like, what's happening? This is crazy. And then the next thing I know, I show up. I get in the car, I'm headed to the gym, and I show up standing in the building. I'll take spot 7, right? And then I'm telling the coach, like, hey, I literally did not want to be here today, and my mind was saying not to do this, but here I am. I'm like, what's going on? She laughed at me. But I'm here. It's like, okay, I'm here. I'm doing this thing. It's time to get excited, right? I made it. So I think that is one of our biggest challenges, right? Showing up. Showing up. That's the hardest part, to get there, And so this reminded me of the 4 stages of competence. There are 4 stages. I think it's the same with habit creation. There are 4 stages. So in psychology, the 4 stages of competence are, they are unconscious competence. That's the first one, okay? And that's me saying, okay, I'm setting this new habit. I need to go to the gym 4 times a week. So unconscious competence is you have something in mind to do that you are not currently doing, but you want to be doing. For example, going to the gym. You want to go 4 times a week. And then you have conscious incompetence. Okay, I'm going to join the gym, right? I'm doing this thing. You join a gym, but then you've only gone a couple of times, okay? Next is conscious competence, which says, okay, I go to the gym regularly. So you start going to the gym 2 times a week, but it's a huge effort, and you have to really push yourself to get motivated to get up and go. That's conscious competence, right? And then you have unconscious competence, which is going to the gym 4 times a week, even when you don't want to. Even when you don't want to. So you go 4 times a week, it's like your body just goes without you, right? That's cool, And so it goes when your mind tells you it doesn't want you to go. This reminds me of the 12-step programs. They say suit up and show up. Suit up and show up. So our minds will say, I don't feel like going to a meeting. I don't feel like it, But one of the hugest things was that it would become so boring, like, oh, God, I'm going to go to another meeting. It's so boring, I'll skip this one. But that's usually when you need it the most. That's why they do 90 meetings in 90 days as your challenge when you first get into recovery. Because at some point in those 90 days, you have created a habit, and you keep going, even when you don't want to go. And so that is achieving that unconscious competence. Well, gee, that all sounds great, Reverend Elizabeth, but that's not spiritual. What? So we're going to take this model that I just shared and plug it into your transformation, right? What you think about, you bring about. Change your thinking, change your life. You don't just change your thought one time and boom, you're enlightened, right? Things change for that moment in time. However, you must keep at it. You must make it a habit to change your thinking, and then soon you will have changed your entire life by changing your mind. 1% at a time. One small reframe. And you practice that reframe over and over again. And then you realize how you do one thing is how you do everything. And you can apply these small changes, practice changing your habits, and you will learn how to make it a habit to change your thinking and change your life. Are you with me? Yeah. All right. Thank you, BJ. So that brings me to this beautiful picture. Ta-da! Can you guys see that? This is our teaching symbol. This is the Science of Mind teaching symbol. It looks like a circle with a V and 2 lines, doesn't it? Now, something really cool, side note, this was someone's foundations class project. I think it was Jason. Yeah, Jason, last name? McGee, Jason McGee. Yes, and this is so cool. I'm so glad that we still have it. So it's created from a Wordle. Have you guys heard of those where you plug in a bunch of words and then it makes a design? And so it's got words like soul, pray, universe, source. And so anyway, this thing is really awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about this for us. So the circle is actually representing God or the thing itself. And the top part in the space here, you going to come up and help me? Thank you. Yay! Thank you, Gina. That's awesome. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So you've got this top section. Now this is the seed, right? So this is where the seed is. So you have seed, soil, and plant. All right. And so this is all spirit. Okay. Spirit is all of it, the all in all. And so this is the V part, the part that goes into this. Into form here is called the involution of spirit. And then it evolves out of form. That's called the evolution of spirit. But it evolves out of form so that it can become something else. This is the creative process at work, you guys. And so the top part is first cause, the absolute, the thing itself, the presence. This is where we have our affirmations and our prayer, and we're doing our meditation, our spiritual practices. You're coming on Sundays, and I'm saying a bunch of words. And that's all like seeds being planted, you know. And if your soil, this creative medium part, if the soil is just right, then a seed is going to come into that soil. If your mind is prepared, if your consciousness is prepared, like you're open and ready for something new to sprout up into form, if that's the case, then that seed will take form and burst into or above the ground and into form in this area. And so seed, soil, plant, it's the creative process at work. So if you have the seed of an idea and you are affirming it and speaking it and reading about it and visualizing it and visioning, and you begin to plant that seed into this creative medium. Are your hands getting tired? Okay. Are you with me? This is so cool, right? Because this is where all of our conditions exist, okay? And so sometimes if you are in recovery, then you know that before you got into recovery, you had an old idea. And the old idea was, I'm going to stop drinking. I have a hangover today. I am not going to drink today. And then you talking about drinking, not drinking, not drinking, and next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere and you're drinking, right? And you're like, what happened? Well, it's a habit. And so you're stuck in this habit and you've created this cycle that you're consistently doing. Now, translate that for those of you not in recovery. It's some thought form that you are repeating. And, you know, a lot of times people are looking to create a relationship or to be in a relationship that they would love to be in. However, they're operating from their unconscious, the unhealed past. And they keep recreating the same relationship with a different face. Has that ever happened to you? Right? And so you can transform that here. You can do work with a practitioner, you can work with ministers, you can take a class, you can get some prayer, and keep coming back, getting workshops and really learning to transform so that you can create what it is you want to create, the new idea. That's something new. You have a new idea, a new vision, a new choice, and this goes into the law, which is impersonal. It works all the time, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you've done in your life or haven't done, regardless of your age or gender or anything, regardless of your nationality, regardless of your weight, regardless of whatever. Nothing matters. It just works. Just like the law of gravity, right? This is spiritual law. It works. What you think about, you bring about. Thank you, Gina. Let's give her some love. All right. Great. Wow. How cool is that? So if you're in foundations class, this is a great project idea, okay? Wow. All right. So this was our teaching symbol. I don't talk as much about that on Sundays, and so I wanted to bring that into this service because I've been talking about, or we've been talking this month about cultivate, right? That's been our seed of awakening. And it started with preparing the soil with Susan's amazing talk, right? Preparing the soil, and then it was planting the seed and tending the seed. And then today is about emergence. It's the seed coming into form, you know? So today, my friends, is a day of celebration as we experience the joy of the seeds of our intentions coming up, and through that soil of consciousness, they have either already sprouted up above ground or they are just about to. And regardless of where you are in the process, those seeds of intention are, wherever you are in that process, we're continuing to care for those seeds and nurture them and check and make sure our garden is free of weeds so that they can mature and delightfully burst into form. Now, the invitation for us this week and through the rest of the month of April is to consider those subtle shifts that you have experienced that actually signal your growth. I know we've all experienced some, and we're going to have this amazing opportunity today after the service to have, what was called Divine Sparkles is now our wisdom circle, because I recognize that we all have our own wisdom around this topic, and some questions could have come up. So it has evolved into this talking circle, and we want to make it really accessible for everyone, right? So the invitation is for you to join us after the service to share wisdom or insights or questions, anything that has come up for you, and to really, or maybe go deeper with things, whatever is called to be there, right? It's a divine thing happening. So I really want you to get present to honoring your new beginnings with gratitude and patience. If you haven't experienced any of these shifts lately, perhaps you're playing small. Perhaps you've been playing small, and it may be time for you to take that step and go big, you know? The world needs you and your light. And remember, it's not one and done. It's just not one and done. And so I'm going to call up our musicians now to prepare us for our closing song. And as I do so, I'm going to invite you to consider this specific call to action for the month of April as we wrap up this month. Consider, my friends, what is one small thing, one small change that you can make in your life that would propel you forward into your greater yet to be. I'm talking about 1%, one new habit you can commit to and stay the course for the rest of the year. What's one thing? Is it 5 minutes of meditation each day, 5 minutes of yoga? Whatever it is, can you commit to that one small thing? And I know we like to go big and we want to say, I'm going to do 40 minutes, but you can get there eventually. The point is making it a habit, because as we make it a habit, we'll actually automatically do it because we know it's something that is for us. Maybe it's as simple as changing your vocabulary in one area. Instead of saying, I have to, maybe you start saying, I get to. Instead of I have to, I get to. Why would we do that? Friends, this shifts our perspective to viewing the tasks that we need to do as opportunities rather than burdens. I have to clean off my table today. I get to clean off my table today. You see the difference? I get to do this. I have to pack for my move. I get to pack for my move. I have to pack for my vacation. I get to pack for my vacation. How awesome is that? I have to and I get to are both true, but the mindset that you choose, my friends, influences how you approach your day. Remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So how you approach your day is how you approach your life. All right? Do you have to live another day? Or do you get to live another day? We get to live another day, right? If you get to live another day, make it count. Make it count, my friends. Your future is up to you. Thank you. Let's take a deep breath together. And join me in turning your attention inward. And as we return to this beautiful, expansive space within, we can let go of our to-do lists, what we're doing after this, where we're going, what we need to buy at the grocery store, and just relax into the present moment. This moment is all that we have. And so as I relax into this moment here, I remember the truth of my life, which is that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than I am, and I can use it because it's right within me. The divine intelligence that I call spirit is right within me. I have access to it. I am made of the same stuff that birthed the cosmos. That's amazing. And as I remember that this is true, I know that I am filled and fortified and loved and beloved by the divine. That there is nothing that I cannot do when I remember this truth of my life. I know that the spirit within me wants to live this beautiful, powerful, amazing, blessed, abundant, prosperous, whole, healthy, complete life with adventure and fun, of course, through and as me. And it does. And I'm open to this, and I say yes to it. I don't have to. I get to. I get to live this life. I get to go to work. I get to do all the chores. I get to do the laundry. I get to. I think that's a new song coming into form right now. I get to, and it is so good. And I know for each one of us that as we go forward from here, whatever we thought we had to do, we now know that we get to do it. And whatever, maybe we came in with some upset or some racket, we can let that go and know that I'm not using my creative energy for upset or racket. No. I'm using my creative energy to create my life, to create a life that I love because I have that power. And I know this is true for each one of us. We have the power within us to become and be all that we came here to be, and that is who we are today and forevermore. And I am so grateful as I release this prayer, knowing it is so. This is a celebration, and each one of us are the guest of honor. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful. God is so good. Life is so good. I am so blessed as I release this prayer, knowing it is so, and so it is. So it is. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
There There's a
good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. There's a good for me, and I ought to have
good for me.
a good for me,
And I ought to have
to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. There's only one life.
That life is God's life.
That life is God's
That
life.
life is my life now.
That life is my life now.
There's only one life. Sing along.
There's only one
That
life.
life is God's life.
That life is God's life. That life is my life now. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it. A good for me, and I ought to have it now.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. All right, it's now time for our conscious giving. Will our ushers please come forward? All right, today we have Betty Scanlon and BJ DiGirolamo. Thank you. Let's give them some love. Volunteers in service. All right, my friends, if you are tuning in on the Love Stream, actually, first of all, if this service has inspired you in any way, please consider making a donation to our community. And if you're tuning in on the Love Stream, you can make your donation. One way to do it is by going to paypal.me /Awakening Ways. You can also send a check to our office. The address is on our website. And if you're in the room and, oh, you forgot your checkbook or your cash, hey, don't worry. I'm sure you have a smartphone and you can scan this QR code on the back of the program and make your donation that way. Regardless of how you donate, we are so grateful for your gift. And we do have a giving affirmation, so I invite you to take your gift and place it over your heart, or place your hand over your heart, and please repeat after me. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and my belief. It is evidence of my faith and my belief. It does great work in the world. It does great work in the world. And returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks. For all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
Yes, these are amazing gifts. They're proof that we have, and we are so blessed in this community. We're so blessed by this morning. And I just give my thanks for that, knowing that I'm 1% better, at least. And I bring that from here, each one of us, from here, we bring that with us, and we give that to the world. Because again, giving is proof of having, and we have all that there is. And I just give thanks for that, knowing that it's so, and so it is.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Delon. Did you want to come up? Do we have a youth program today or no? I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right. Well, do you know how soon? Is she like outside or? Is she right there? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move into announcements. So our announcements angel for today is Gina. Dun, 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 dun. Should I stay up here?
You can.
Okay.
Sure, you could stay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll stand over here.
Okay, that's fine. All right, welcome to the announcements. We've got quite a few today. Now, Reverend Elizabeth already spoke about the Wisdom Circle that we're going to have over here, which is going to be fun and amazing after we have some fellowship and all of that. So that's the first thing. The second, of course, is the big Gourmet for God's fundraiser. It's off to a really good start if you've seen some of those sheets over there. The amazing events are displayed on the tables. And just remember, you have to pick up a bidder's packet and fill it out before you bid on any event. And you can see Mary and Susanna. They're going to be at the table, and they will go over details with you and all of that and how you could bid. But I'm going to ask Julie to come on up because she's going to talk about her event a little bit.
No, I thought we were talking about. Oh, you can do that too. Oh, okay. Okay, this is a surprise. Yeah, I thought we were talking about Echo. We served Echo on Thursday night. It was fantastic. I'm Julie, and when I texted people to bring food, they were totally confused because I wasn't Carol Ann. And it's like, who is this? Who stole Carol Ann's phone? So anyway, now you have a face to put to who'll be calling you. I'm just helping Carol Ann out. She has really big shoes to fill. So I want to thank everybody. I'm not sure that I thanked people that donated food, and let you know every single bit of that food is used. They were packing up the food we didn't serve and had it all marked for lunch the next day. So they do really, really well there. Okay, so I didn't know I was going to speak about my donation for, over here. Anyway, it's Viva La Palapa. We have a palapa in our backyard, and we do a palapa. A palapa is a big hut that has a grass lid on it. So we have this big palapa in our backyard. It's like what you see in Tahiti or, all those kind of places that you like to vacation. We do a giant fish taco night, and so I just donated that. Whoever would like to come, bring friends, whatever. We can serve a ton of people, and it'll just be super casual, flip-flops, shorts, because it'll be in July. We have a big vat of cowboy margaritas that you pour over ice, and then a ton of non-alcoholic drinks, and it'll just be like a big party, picnic. So it's very casual, just fish tacos, some other tacos. We can totally do vegetarian, a bunch of side dishes, and we're going to play a bunch of yard games. Maybe do left, right, center at the end of the night if people are into it. Yeah, it's pretty fun, left, right, center. So anyway, it's a party we do all the time, and it's just usually really fun. And I just serve the fish tacos right off the barbecue, so it's not like a sit down, it's super casual. So if anybody would like to come, I think it will be really, really fun to get to meet people on a super casual event. Okay, so, sorry, that was...
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for playing with us there. No worries. Okay, so this Wednesday, of course, we have meditation night at the center on El Camino Real. You can bring a yoga mat or a pillow, whatever you need to be comfortable, and bring a journal too, because we do journal a little bit during this evening, so it's really lovely. And that's at 6 p.m. So we talked about Echo. There is the Men's Connection Circle that meets the first Monday of every month, which means it'll be Monday, May 5th at 6 p.m. in Atascadero at David's house, David Clark. And you can see David or Travis if you haven't signed up yet. So, and then there is the first meeting of the Women's Connection Circle will be Thursday of that same week, May 8th, from 6 to 8 p.m., and that's going to be at our center on El Camino Real. We're going to talk about future dates and all of that. There's a sign-up sheet at the back table. And then next Sunday, Sonia will be here to lead the children's program, Spiritual Sprouts. So bring the kids, grandkids, or whoever's kids, for a fun hour of crafts, mindfulness, and nature. Now Reverend Elizabeth's going to talk about the logistics director.
All right, thank you, Gina. So we have a couple of positions opening up here. As you heard last week, or I think it cut out during the announcement that Susan made about her outgrowing her pot. It was so perfect. And so she's moving more into ministry, and we're changing up the position a little bit. So what was formerly the office admin role had a lot of tasks. We've separated it into two positions, and one is an admin exec assistant type position, and the other is a logistics director. And so I'm going to start with the logistics director. Their tasks are to update programs for the month. Actually, I won't go through all the tasks. How about this? Logistics director, it's a $500 per month position, around 20 to 25 hours per month. And if you have any interest, I have all of the tasks here. You can see me after the service. And then we also have the administrative executive assistant is the same, 20, 25 hours, $500 per month. So see me after the service. I would love to talk with you and potentially schedule an interview. Thank you so much for considering these roles. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Rebby. Just a couple more. So, a couple new things we've got. So there's a new connection circle that's being offered by BJ DiGirolamo and Susan Jones. Woohoo! This is called the Spiritual Living Prayer Circle, and it's going to meet on the second Tuesday of each month at our center from 11 a.m. till 12:30 p.m., so a nice daytime event. The first meeting is on May 13th. and join BJ and Susan for a group discussion about an article from the Science Mind magazine, followed by shared prayer requests for the month. There is a sign-up sheet at the info table, and I'm sure you can ask BJ or Susan about that. The next thing is save the dates for the upcoming Pride events. Awakening Ways is honored to be part of 3 events this year coming up in May and June. We're going to have a booth at Pride in the Plaza, Saturday, May 31st in SLO, Trans Pride on June 1st in SLO at one of the parks there, and then the Atascadero Pride in the Park right here on June 14th. That's also a Saturday. So we're looking for volunteers to shine their lights at these events as we bring love and acceptance to this diverse community. Sign-ups and info's at the table, also in the back, and you can speak to me about it. And then, of course, you know our book of the month is Atomic Habits. I believe there's only 1 copy left, and this is it. So you can see Joy about it in the back. And also, we've got Science Mind magazines still, so those are for $10. So a big shout out to all our volunteers and staff. Thank you so much. We love you.
Nice job. Did you want to come and share about the children's program? All right. Thank you, Nancy. Let's give Nancy some love.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Well, I just want you guys to know that we had a new student today, Isaac. Raise your hand. All right, Isaac. Archie. Hello, sweetie. So he and I, and so did Paula, we all went. Come over here, Archie. Come over here, Archie. Yeah, everybody wants to see. Look at all those cabbage heads out there. I say that so they don't get stage fright when they're playing music. So we were learning music theory today. We did do, re, mi, which the scales aren't always the same as our Western scale around the world. So we have that to learn. And we're learning solfege along with it so that they hear the music in their minds. And that's what we strive for. Also, we went on a walk because we were learning about transformation of butterflies from a chrysalis state. And aren't we all in a cycle of that? So while we were walking around, a blue heron landed really close to us. And it was a strikingly beautiful bird, and it just made me think, keep going, keep going. And so we had a lot of joy singing, learning rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, get it in your feet. That beat belongs in your feet. Come on, Archie. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got it. He does it the way he does it, which is very creative. Thank you. Okay, Archie, come on.
Thank you so much. All right, friends, let's circle up for our benediction and call in response. There's Mama, yay. We need to go this way. This away, this away. Yeah. Oh, I need to be on this side, though. Damba-dee-ba. Oh. I'm going to squeeze in here. Yeah, there we go. Not ready yet, though. All right, my friends, won't you know with me that you are never alone, that God is where you are right now and always, and all that we ever need to do is turn within, and it is here we will find we are guided, sustained, directed, and inspired by a source that knows only good. Joyously let us make use of these gifts in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me. Something wonderful is happening to me. Something wonderful is happening by me. Something wonderful is happening by me. Something wonderful is happening through me. Something wonderful is happening Something wonderful is happening as me.
Something wonderful is happening as me.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
And so it is.
And so it is. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be
Chop that wood, carry water. What's the sound of one hand clapping and lightning? I want to know what it is. Every second, every minute keeps on changing to something different. And lightning, I want to know what it is. Enlightenment says the world seems like nothing but a dream.